All right, I want to talk about one more game, Crossfire. This, of course, was shown off at Summer Games Fest and generated a good bit of buzz because it's coming from a couple of devs that have a background at Naughty Dog and even Infinity Ward, and they've been working at a brand new studio that they built to basically make this game called That's No Moon. It's one of those things that like people who are hardcore following developers and following up and coming studios, they've been keeping an eye on this studio for a while because nobody knew what they were doing. This game leaked in early development a couple of years back and people were wondering what it was, but now we've actually seen the reveal and I want to talk about it a little bit because this is one of those games, I'm just gonna be real, that like looks too good to be true, you know? Like for one, they've got really good motion capture and like facial animations and all this stuff. But specifically when they show gameplay, it starts looking like, I don't know, I've seen a lot of fake trailers that look like this, right? Where you see them carefully moving around boulders and it's usually the little touches. It's like there's a boulder here, they put their hand carefully and pivot around and it's because it's a cutscene, but in gameplay it doesn't work that way because typically in a cover-based shooter, things are just like rectangles, you know? It's just like, oh, there's a box. You hide behind the box, you shoot over the box, then you keep hiding in there, you know? That's what typically happens in cover-based shooters. But this trailer shows the player character like crouching and swiveling around all sorts of different dynamically shaped boulders and rocks and trees, going into crevasses. Like, what? Like, look at that. Look at that. The shuffle down around the boulders, fully dynamic. Like, what is happening? It looks too good to be true. And even like to some people, they have straight up said this looks fake. Well, I want to talk about this because I actually got the chance to meet Taylor Kurosaki and also this lovely gentleman, Jake, who I think they'll put his name tag up. Yeah, right here. Jacob Minkoff. These two are a creative duo, which doesn't happen that often in the industry anymore. The only one I can really think of is like back in the day, Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley, who did, of course, Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us together. But they, of course, ended up splitting. Bruce went off, made his own studio. But these guys have worked together for like 18 freaking years. They like follow each other and they work on stuff together, which is just kind of cool. You don't see that very often. But they are like OGs of the Uncharted series. They worked on Call of Duty for a little bit. Like, they actually do have a track record that's pretty impressive. And you guys remember last week how I didn't stream on Monday? It's because they invited me to see the game behind closed doors before they showed it at SGF. So I hopped on a plane at 5 a.m., hopped off the plane at LAX. I was not wearing a cardigan. I did have a dream though. And I went to the studio, saw the game for like 2.5 hours and met them, interviewed them. And then I hopped back on a plane and flew back in the same day. It was cool. Tiring, but it was cool. And they were lovely. They were very kind. Fun fact, this studio where it's based, this is just fun fact before I get into details. Where they are making the game is literally in the same soundstage. So like it's a building where their studio is, and then they have a soundstage on the side. That soundstage, this is it, is literally the same one that was used to do motion capture for Uncharted 2. It's like, this is literally the building where they did motion capture for all of Uncharted 2, for all of Uncharted 1, like all of it. This is the building. This is where it happens. Okay. And they like have custom built this out. It also, fun fact, this building before they got it as part of their studio, they actually used this same soundstage to do motion capture for the Lion King live action remake, I guess, to like do motion capture for a human character. I don't really understand how you would do that, like, because it's animals, but what do I know? But this is like a pretty big deal and like a storied, sacred ground, a storied motion capture studio. Just a fun fact, you know, who knew? But this is why their motion capture stuff looks so good, because they are using like a massive motion capture studio. If you're not familiar, a lot of studios nowadays outsource their motion capture and don't do it locally. So like even Black Flag Resynced, I believe all of that motion capture stuff they did for the Resynced was done in Toronto. Even though the game is being made in Singapore, the motion capture was done elsewhere because they don't have a motion capture studio close to them that makes sense for the actors to come to, and so they outsource it elsewhere. Whereas for them, they literally get up from their desk, walk 100 feet and go and do it, which is just kind of cool. But the main thing I want to mention is that we got to see a live demonstration of gameplay where they literally booted up the game, a work in progress build that was pre-alpha, of course, and they just played the game for like 20-30 minutes, whatever it was, and showed it running without any cuts, without any edits. They showed the full gameplay. They asked that I not be specific about what we saw because things are still changing and adjusting. But the main reason they showed it to us was to like demonstrate that when we see these snippets of like the crawling over rocks and boulders and stuff, the stuff that looks kind of like fake gameplay, I can tell you that it's real. Like that is actually what the game looks like. It's a little ridiculous. And I hope they go into more detail in the future, but they developed a custom system to try and change how cover-based shooters work. Because like I said, typically in cover-based shooters, everything is just rectangles. It's just blocks. And it's like, sometimes there's tall blocks that you can kind of stand up against. And then there's others that are on their side. And so you have to hide behind it, crouch down. But typically everything is just a rectangle or a square. Like that's pretty much it. There's not much wiggle room beyond that. With this game, though, they tried to specifically design a system that allows them to do whatever they want. And they said there's many reasons for it. For one, just because it creates interesting gameplay and dynamics. Two, because you can have environments that look much more realistic because you are not bound by any of those objects or shapes or anything. You can do literally whatever you want to do and everything's dynamic, so it just works. Beyond that, they were describing how they really hated in games how you'll get to like a boss arena, and I mean, we've all seen this, where you get to an arena and you're like, oh, a boss fight's about to happen, or oh, we're about to fight. Because you can tell there's the cover laid out, the arena is a big rectangle, and you just know there's a fight about to happen. You know, it's a meme. Looks like a boss arena to me. And it kind of kills the big narrative beat or moment when the boss fight starts or when the encounter starts, which the player character doesn't know about, but you know it because you recognize a combat arena. For this, that's not a problem anymore because everything is actually totally dynamic. This could be any setup. This could be filler in the background like other games. You know, you just walk across the bridge and this would just be filler. You wouldn't even think of this as a play space. But because of how it's built out, they can have fully dynamic environments, and the crouching and cover and stuff just works. So this area, this can be a combat encounter, even though it's literally just a mountainside, but you can have like really tight movement and cover-based systems and flanking and all sorts of stuff with it. I will also say, based on the gameplay snippet that I saw, they have built this from the ground up with like intelligent AI at the center of it, which is really refreshing. So they have, and they are balancing the game around enemies that work together and flank you. So they will literally have like an enemy stand here and just spray at you behind this boulder while their buddies flank around to the edge and try to get an angle on you. And they're constantly like able to communicate with each other and flank you. It like actually feels like an innovation in the cover-based genre, which is legitimately really cool. What game is this? It's the one called Crossfire. It's technically an IP that's existed for a while. It's really popular, especially in like Eastern markets, but they were very clear. This is a single player narrative cinematic game. This is not a multiplayer game. This is not a looter shooter. This is not live service. This is a linear cinematic story-based game. It just happens to have really like wild cover-based systems. Luke said AI, cancel him. Yeah. So I am very interested in this. Don't sleep on this. Like, again, these guys know what they're doing and they've had their names attached to some of my favorite games ever. Especially like when we look at Uncharted, they know what they're doing and they are trying very hard to do something very different. But inevitably, like when you have something that's different that people haven't really seen before, like this fully dynamic cover, it doesn't, like your brain doesn't know what to do with it because we haven't seen something like this. So it looks fake, right? It looks fake. But I can tell you, having seen it running in real time, and it was actually Jacob playing it. He's also just a super kind guy, very, very welcoming and warm. They both are. They're lovely. He was playing it, and I can tell you, like, no, it's real. Now it's early in development. They're working on it. You know, I don't know exactly what their timelines are looking like, but they are. It's real. It's real. They actually have it. So there you go. I wanted to of course, like, check it out because I was interested in the studio to begin with. This, like, to be very, very clear, this was not sponsored. I don't have to talk about this. They just wanted to share it and see what I thought. And they were hoping, of course, I would be impressed by it and like what I saw. But if I hated everything I saw, I'm free to say I hated everything I saw. They just, like, shared the info with me. But I wanted to talk about it here on stream because it legitimately was impressive. And I saw people talking about it saying, oh, it looks like a fake trailer. It looks too good to be true. I don't know how this would even work. But I can tell you that this is in fact real, and that is actual gameplay. It's a little insane. So there you go. He looks like Jamie from Mythbusters. He needs the beret. You need the beret. But yeah, it's real. They talked a little bit about the systems, which I'm glad they did on stage, but I think that they'll need to do like a full gameplay deep dive. Guys, call me. I'm down to do it like this.
With adaptive cover, our player character Layla dynamically adjusts her stance to react to the complex terrain and the enemy's line of sight. It fundamentally changes your relationship with the environment and becomes an active skill to master.
And it actually does. It's pretty cool. So check it out. And I'm going to keep following up on it because I think it's really cool. And yeah, they were lovely. And honestly, of all the games that, like, I hope end up being awesome and doing well, it's games like this. Like, it is a game that is unapologetically, it is a new studio making a linear, cinematic, story-driven game in a genre that typically is not that. I mean, typically these types of games only exist in like the live service format. So I'm excited for it, and I hope that you guys check it out too, because it seems cool. Buns of Steel. No, that was the player character in Fable earlier. My God. Jesus. He took my thing.